Landman. Season 2, Episode 6 does not ease you in. It hits immediately, and once it starts, it does not let go. This episode delivers in a huge way because every decision feels dangerous, every conversation feels loaded, and every character is standing on the edge of losing something they can never get back. Power shifts, loyalties crack, and by the end of this episode, nothing about the Norris family or the company holding them together feels stable anymore. Section 1. Landman. Season 2, Episode 6 opens with a heavy truth hanging over everything. The problems that started with the blowout were never really over. They were only waiting for the right moment to explode again. Cammy believed she had survived the worst of it. She thought the insurance damage was contained, the legal mess was under control, and the chaos had finally settled. But this episode makes it painfully clear that peace was an illusion. When a hard deadline arrives to restart drilling at the Louisiana well, the pressure instantly shifts from financial stress to something far more dangerous. This is no longer just about money. It is about legal exposure, criminal risk, and decisions that could destroy lives. The weight of it all lands squarely on Cammy's shoulders, and you can feel how alone she is in that position. She is no longer protected by Monty's presence, and every choice now belongs to her. The meeting that follows is where everything truly starts to unravel. Cammy learns that the $400 million settlement she believed was safely set aside was never really there in the way she was told. Instead, that money had been moved, divided, and buried inside Monty's separate corporate structures and private equity investments. What should have been a lifeline is suddenly unreachable. Getting it back would take months, maybe longer, and require resources the company no longer has. The lawyers do not soften the blow. They do not offer comfort or hope. They give her the cold truth, and the only clean solution they can see is bankruptcy. On paper, the company might survive. In reality, everything Monty built would be stripped down, reduced to paperwork and settlements. For Cammy, this is not just a business decision. It feels like losing her husband all over again, like watching his life's work be handed over to insurance companies and courtrooms. Before Cammy can even process what bankruptcy would mean, Tommy steps in. And this is where the episode starts tightening the emotional screws. Tommy does not speak lightly. He lays out everything he has been carrying alone. He tells her about the cartel-linked mineral rights, the negotiations that nearly got him killed, and how Galino entered the picture when things were already spiraling out of control. He explains how dangerous the optics are, how accepting Galino's loan could make the company look like the center of a massive money laundering operation. From Tommy's point of view, this is a line they cannot cross. The risk is too big. The danger is too real. His fear is not exaggerated, and you can hear it in the way he talks. He is not trying to control Cammy. He is trying to protect her, the company, and himself from consequences that could destroy them all. But Cammy is no longer the same person she was at the start of the season. Episode 6 makes that transformation impossible to ignore. Bankruptcy is not an option for her. Not emotionally, not symbolically, not ever. She draws a hard line and refuses to move it. She refuses to be the woman who loses her husband and then loses everything he built just weeks later. When she accepts Galino's offer, it is not because she trusts him. It is because she refuses to surrender. And then she delivers the words that completely shift the balance of power between her and Tommy. She tells him that he will never summon her to a meeting again. From now on, meetings come to her. In that moment, Cammy fully steps into the role of boss, not partner, not widow, not someone seeking advice. And it is clear that Tommy feels the impact immediately. This moment hurts because it is not fueled by anger. It is fueled by resolve. Cammy is done being guided, protected, or questioned. She believes she knows what must be done, and she is willing to live with the consequences. That choice puts her directly in Galino's orbit. And Episode 6 makes it very clear that Galino is exactly where he wants to be. He does not threaten, he does not argue, he does not raise his voice. He simply positions himself as the answer to every problem they cannot solve alone. And the most terrifying part is that he is right. He is the solution, even if that solution comes at a cost that no one can fully see yet. By the end of this section, Landman Season 2, Episode 6 has already delivered on its promise. The stakes are higher, the power dynamics have shifted, and the path forward feels darker than ever. As Landman, Season 2, Episode 6 moves forward, the emotional distance between Tommy and Cammy stops being subtle and becomes impossible to ignore. The decision Cammy made does not just change the company's direction, it changes the foundation of her relationship with Tommy. For the first time, Tommy is no longer standing beside her as a trusted guide. He is standing slightly behind her, watching control slip out of his hands. That shift becomes painfully clear during the rodeo outing with Cammy and Galino. What should have been a simple public appearance turns into a quiet psychological battle. Tommy feels it immediately. The laughter between Cammy and Galino lasts just a second too long. Their conversations flow too easily. And every time Tommy tries to insert himself, he feels like an outsider looking in. The episode does not need big confrontations to sell this moment. The tension lives in what is not said, in the space between glances, in the way Tommy realizes in real time that his influence is fading. Galino knows exactly what he is doing. He does not rush. He does not push aggressively. Instead, he applies pressure slowly and deliberately, like someone who understands that real control comes from patience. Around Cammy, he is charming, supportive, and reassuring. Around Tommy, he becomes something else entirely. His words are carefully chosen to unsettle, to create doubt, to make Tommy feel replaceable. He drops comments that feel harmless on the surface, but carry sharp edges underneath. He hints that Cammy deserves someone who fully supports her vision, someone who does not hesitate, someone who is not constantly warning her about consequences. At the same time, he plants quiet doubts in Cammy's mind about Tommy's loyalty and judgment. He frames Tommy's caution as fear, his warnings as resistance to change. And slowly, the gap between them widens. For Tommy, this is a nightmare unfolding in slow motion. He is trapped between two impossible roles. On one side, he wants to protect Cammy from a man he does not trust and a deal that feels poisoned. On the other side, he is fighting to hold on to the job, identity, and life he has built inside this company. Every instinct tells him that Galino is dangerous, but every practical reality tells him that Galino is now essential. Episode 6 leans heavily into that internal conflict. You can feel the weight in Tommy's chest as he watches Cammy lean further into Galino's influence. He cannot openly oppose her without risking everything. And he cannot stay silent without feeling like he is betraying himself. While this emotional chess match plays out, the episode cuts to Cooper, who believes for a brief moment that he has finally made it. He thinks he has struck oil not just in the ground, but in life. That confidence does not survive long. At the Patch Cafe, Tommy delivers one of the most grounded and devastating reality checks of the season. He does not yell. He does not insult. He simply dismantles Cooper's illusion piece by piece. Cooper may have oil, but he does not have a business. No structure, no plan, no understanding of long-term responsibility. Tommy makes it painfully clear that instinct alone does not keep you alive in this world. Systems do, rules do, and ignorance is punished quickly. When Tommy breaks down Cooper's deal with Galino, the truth becomes unavoidable. What looked impressive on paper was carefully designed to benefit only one side. Cooper was never going to see the money he imagined. The excitement drains from his face as the trap becomes visible. He is cornered, and for the first time, he realizes how badly he misjudged the situation. This moment hits hard because it mirrors Tommy's own fears about Galino. The same man who is charming Cammy and positioning himself as a savior is quietly locking others into deals they cannot escape. Tommy steps in just in time, using MTX to absorb the damage, buy the leases, and cancel the note. A total collapse is avoided, but the relief feels temporary, almost fragile. What makes this section of Episode 6 so effective is that nothing feels clean or resolved. Even the victories carry weight. Cooper is saved, but humbled. Tommy proves his value, but loses ground with Cammy. Galino tightens his grip without ever showing his hand. And underneath it all, there is a growing sense that these problems are only being delayed, not solved. The episode delivers its tension by showing how every solution creates a new vulnerability. Every step forward comes with a price. And by the time this section ends, it is clear that Landman Season 2, Episode 6 is not building toward relief. It is building toward impact. Landman. Season 2, Episode 6 continues by turning its focus inward, shifting from boardroom pressure and public tension to the private consequences of everything that has already been set in motion. For Tommy, the cost of holding everything together is starting to show. He has spent his life learning how to navigate risk, how to survive in a business that punishes hesitation. But this time the danger is not just professional, it is personal. Watching Cammy drift closer to Galino while pushing him further away forces Tommy to confront a painful reality. His value is no longer guaranteed, his voice no longer carries the same weight, and the skills that once made him indispensable are now being quietly questioned. The episode reinforces this by showing how isolated Tommy has become. He is still the one fixing problems, still the one preventing disasters before they fully erupt, but he is doing it without trust or authority. When he saved Cooper from financial ruin, it should have been a moment of validation. Instead, it feels like proof of something more unsettling. Tommy is useful, but he is not respected in the way he once was. He is relied on, but not listened to. That imbalance creates a deep emotional fracture that Episode 6 explores with careful restraint. There are no dramatic speeches or explosive arguments. The pain lives in restraint, in what Tommy chooses not to say because saying it might cost him everything. Cooper's storyline deepens this theme of reality crashing down. After the cafe conversation, the fantasy version of his future is gone. What remains is responsibility, fear, and the sudden understanding that he is not ready for the weight he has taken on. When Tommy offers him a job, it is not framed as charity. It is framed as survival. Tommy lays out the truth of the Landman's world in blunt terms. Money can be made fast, but only if you understand the rules well enough to bend them, and only if you respect them enough to know when breaking them will destroy you. Cooper accepts the offer not with excitement, but with resignation. For the first time, he understands that talent without structure is dangerous. Episode 6 makes it clear that this job offer is not just about work. It is about reshaping Cooper's identity. He is no longer the kid chasing quick success. He is being pulled into a system that demands discipline, patience, and accountability. That shift sets the stage for the emotional weight that follows when Ariana enters the picture more fully. Cooper's life is no longer defined by possibility alone. It is now defined by obligation. Marriage, parenthood, responsibility. These are not distant ideas anymore. They are immediate and unavoidable. As Cooper spends time with Ariana's baby, the episode allows the weight of that realization to sink in. There is no dramatic breakdown, no loud declaration, just a quiet understanding that his life is about to change forever. Episode 6 handles this moment with surprising maturity, showing how fear and love can exist at the same time. Cooper is terrified, but he is not running. He is overwhelmed, but he is staying. Ariana's presence grounds him, and her steadiness contrasts sharply with his uncertainty. Together, they begin to look less like two young people pretending to be adults, and more like a couple being forced to grow up faster than they expected. Meanwhile, Galino's influence continues to spread quietly through every storyline. Even when he is not physically present, his deals, his money, and his leverage shape every decision. Episode 6 never paints him as openly villainous. That is what makes him so dangerous. He is calm, confident, always a step ahead. He understands people's weaknesses and positions himself as the solution to their problems. And with Cammy now aligned with him, his reach extends deeper into the company than ever before. By the end of this section, Landman, Season 2, Episode 6 has fully shifted from crisis